You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And welcome to the season premiere of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, which is myself. So I just want to say I'm super excited today to be doing this podcast. Wow. This is like the first week of 2021 and there is so much shit going on. I listen, with pressure comes diamonds, and this week is definitely no exception. I mean, I'm doing this show in the midst of chaos and madness, a siege at the Bastille. White people going wild, Proud Boys, mega supporters. The white supremacists are out again showing their ass. And for black folks like me who's been covering white supremacy and doing this work for a long time, I told you so. I'm at this point, I have to be at a place where I just have to just kind of be relaxed. I mean, the Capitol is like under attack. These white people are showing their ass. And, when I was thinking about doing this episode, I kind of came in thinking it's going to be welcome to 2021, y'all. Well, 2021 said to 2020, hold my beer because this shit ain't over. Like, this is like, we are in Avengers mode. We are in, Planet of the Apes attack mode, and the apes are showing their ass. I mean, these guys are going ape shit. This is domestic terrorism. This is sedition. This is all of the things that we as black people specifically knew that was going to happen. And there are a lot of folks who for a long time have underestimated and denied the experiences of black people when they told you that this day would come. And this day has came. Okay, we are in a crazy moment. People are on Twitter using a hashtag World War 2021. And the crazy part, I'm sorry, take that back. It's Civil War 2021 that they're using, the hashtag Civil War 2021, because this is an American issue. You know why I thought about World War 2021 is because around this time last year, the United States and Iran was getting into it. They was getting into Iran, and it was a big, huge moment where people thought there was going to be some nuclear attack, and they were saying World War III around this time in January. And this was before the pandemic, and that was 2020 getting the first madness preview. We thought that was going to, things were going to escalate at that point, but it didn't. And so now here we are in the first week of 2021, and shit then got real. So, I'm going to get into a lot of this. It's a lot of stuff going on. We just gotta, it's a lot. And, this show is going to definitely cover all of the nuances, all of the big issues, all the trending topics and all of that stuff. But I want to say to the people who listen to the sneak peek episode, thank you so much. A lot of people tuned in, hundreds of you all. I appreciate you all giving 5-star ratings. You all are subscribing. You all are telling your friends to listen to the show. I put it out right before 2021 happened as a sneak peek to let you know all about me. If you're new to this podcast, I encourage you to listen to the sneak peek episode where I talk about my life and other experiences to give people an idea who I am as the host, if you all don't know who I am already. But we're in the season premiere, and I'm super excited about this. There's a lot going on. I'm currently in my lovely abode in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and there's so much going on in my area. And so we're going to talk about a lot of the stuff that's happening. But I guess the topic of the moment, what in the hell is going on at the Capitol? As a journalist, I've been following it. I've been looking at a lot of the Twitter videos of people showing that white on white crime, because we don't talk enough about that white on white crime. But it's a lot of white people out here, showing their ass. And to all of the, black and brown people that are in respectability politics that's always talking about black people don't have their shit together and we fighting each other and killing each other and doing things and we're destructive and comparing us to white people. These are not goals. Okay, what is happening right now at the Capitol, right? You got people busting into Nancy Pelosi's office and her phone was on the desk. Where they do that at? Could you imagine? I mean, I don't even need to imagine. I already know. Fuck imagination. If a group of black people, about 5, 10 people, okay, not a militia with flags, showed up to the White House. First of all, police would have never been at the gate. That would have gave them some level of entry because there are video footage showing that there were police at certain gate points letting these people in as if they had to practice their right to protest. It is not a protest. It looks like a coup is being staged by the president, right? President Donald Trump, who is emboldening this hatred, right, in rallies and speeches. He's out here literally giving subtle shots at Vice President Mike Pence, who basically at this last minute decided that he has something called a spine, which he still don't have to me. He doesn't have a spine or a heart, but he decided that he was going to find his spine and decide that he was going to now, say, listen, I can't actually, decertify this election. I can't do that for you, buddy. But here's the thing, a parliamentarian had to step in pretty much and tell Pence that he couldn't actually do that. So shout out to my parliamentarians. I'm on the board of the Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists. So we have a certified parliamentarian. And shout out to my homeboy, Tahid Chappelle. I know he listens to the podcast, and so he's a certified parliamentarian on our board. And so I know what parliamentarians do. I have been someone who's ran for a role of a parliamentarian on the national level. I've served in the role when I was in high school. I know I've always remembered this long ass word, but these people look into the rules and the bylaws and the Constitution to make sure that, actual sitting officers can do certain things. So a parliamentarian pretty much advised him that he couldn't do it. He advised Pence. This person advised Pence that Pence could not do this. And so, people try to resurrect all these old, 1800 something laws and shit, just doing everything in the book to try to not give the Democrats this win. And so when I looked at the ridiculousness, first of all, let's start off the fact that there was the certification meeting that took place on Wednesday where, senators were speaking, I guess I can say this because now we can say it, but minority leader Mitch McConnell, who for the first time in his life has to identify as a minority in something, was very much so adamant on saying to people that this will destroy democracy if they don't go through this process. He has called Biden president-elect, blah, 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 blah. But see, I can't even fuck with that because at the end of the day, let's talk about it, McConnell. Let's talk about the fact, okay, that you spent the past 12 years giving disruption in the Senate. You've been doing it for a long time. Actually, there's a really great piece on Frontline PBS. I think it's called Supreme Court Backlash or something of that nature. But it talks about the history of the Mitch McConnell doctrine, basically his politics, where he basically since Bork, when Bork got borked, right? This guy who tried to, get a Supreme Court nomination in the 80s under Reagan. When Bork happened, Mitch McConnell was very small, very light. He did not have this type of clout. And so when the situation where, Bork did not get the seat, because basically the Democrats reined in on him and talked about his history and basically the nomination not go through, then all of a sudden, his name was Robert Bork, was his full name. When that happened in the 80s, then Mitch McConnell, I remember speaking, saying, what, this is how we're going to do nominations and we're going to be on this partisan type tip. I am not going to, we're going to play dirty. So he, from very day one, he was on that fuck shit for over 30 years. Okay, y'all gotta know Mitch McConnell has been about that reckless ratchet life. Okay, this man is definitely have been in many ways gangster. So the story about his experience was that when the next nominee came to the floor, it was, oh yes, how could I forget, Clarence Thomas, or Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. And we know the situation with Anita Hill. Mitch McConnell was like, I don't care about these sexual harassment allegations. Fuck it, we got to put this dude in. And this was under the Bush, Herbert Walker Bush era. So they were adamant about putting him through. And then after that, there were a couple other folks that kind of went through. There wasn't much of a fuss. But then the shit started up again with Merrick Garland. And this was during the Obama era, okay? So right when Obama was about to finish his final second term as president, Merrick Garland, who is now going to be the attorney general, which is Biden's appointing Merrick Garland as basically his attorney general, which is a little underwhelming because, personally, I had my hopes for Deval Patrick. I wanted to see another black person in a senior role because we already had somebody serving the national defense, but I would have loved to see a secretary, another black secretary in that position. We saw Eric Holder, who I love. Loretta Lynch had served in that position, but I would have thought it would be interesting for Deval Patrick. There's also people tossing around Stacey Abrams. Everybody just love putting Stacey Abrams' name in something, y'all. Y'all gotta stop putting this black woman up for just stuff. Like not that there's anything, let me say this. She is very qualified, intelligent, brilliant, hardworking. She is slaying the game, and we're gonna talk about Georgia in a few. But people just always like to throw her name up. And sometimes people got to run that by Stacey. Maybe that's not what Stacey wanted, right? Maybe that's not what Stacey wants. Maybe Stacey deserves to be in the Senate. Maybe she wants to be in the Senate. Maybe she wants to go for governor, next year. And so she's setting everything up so she can be the governor. To me, I feel like this is going to be a full circle moment. She's going to turn Georgia all the way blue. Senate, presidential, and now the gubernatorial, where she could be one of the first black women to be a governor in a red state. Ugh. Okay, take that, Kemp. But, that being said, at the time, McConnell blocked Garland's nomination. And people were heartbroken by that because Merrick Garland was not a radical. He was pretty much, a Democrat. He was liberal, but he wasn't anything of a threat. And if it would have been the 90s, that man would have got appointed under a Clinton administration. So this was very petty. But Mitch McConnell blocked hearings. So they didn't even have a whole testimony thing. He just said, not happening. I'm shutting this shit down. And he was gangster. And I got to say, this is the one thing, I don't know if this is a compliment. I don't know what it is. But I will say this about Mitch McConnell. He is the type of person that when he's passionate about something, he don't care. He is a loyalist to the death of him. And I wish there was some Democrats that had that kind of energy when it came to, canceling student debt, when it came to giving people a $2,000 stimulus check, when it came to doing the things that the people want, right? Mitch McConnell done put people on, and he uses his bully pulpit to get his party in line. Now, Nancy Pelosi does that too. And I guess she has definitely, she's the majority leader of the House. I wonder who's going to be the majority leader for the Senate. That's gonna be interesting. Whatever y'all do, don't make it Cory Booker, child. Not that I have an issue with Cory Booker. How you doing? But I just think that a little bit more qualifications. But Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, they ain't gonna let Bernie Sanders have it. But somebody with a little bit more posture. Not that he don't have posture. Okay, this is being taken out of context. I'm talking about political posture. I don't know what other posture that many people may be assuming. I am talking about political posture. I'm not talking about the kind of posture that Rosario Dawson would say about him. Like, I'm not doing that. No shade, no shade. Okay, but anywho, somebody with a little bit more qualifications, in my opinion, to be the Senate majority leader. So, I hear some names being floated around, but we'll see. Because at this point, everybody's surprising people. But, Biden made a pick with Merrick Garland. So that's like, I guess, his way of, kind of setting the tables. And this is a big middle finger to the Republican Party that tried to push this man out. So it's interesting. But, we wanted some melanin. We wanted some color. All these, these Obama-esque dudes. It's a lot of, no shade, but Susan Rice and... It's some of the same people. We've seen these people. It's like, Susan Rice is, do your thing. But it's just some of the same folks that came from the Obama administration that is now coming right back. And if y'all was going to bring somebody back from the Obama administration, Julian Castro would have been incredible. Full disclaimer. If He was my favorite presidential, candidate from the Democratic Party. He was my absolute favorite. I was like Julian Castro, and honestly, I would have been okay with a Julian Castro Elizabeth Warren ticket. But I really liked Julian Castro. I got to meet him at Netroots when it was in Philadelphia a couple of years ago, when it was like the presidential elections was just the campaigns were just starting. He's a great guy, and he's from Texas, and y'all know I'm from Texas, and I just thought that he just was somebody who had a great story, great family, just a good, decent man. Got a twin brother who is in Congress. He's already had work, administrative work. I thought he would have been a great president. I think he would have been definitely a great person that needs to be in the conversation. And the stuff about his thoughts on immigration, criminal justice, this man is the real deal. And I don't want the Democratic Party to just lose this guy. Y'all got to do something with Julian Castro, because he's an incredible person. And he follows me on Twitter. And Cory Booker follows me on Twitter too. And Rosario Dawson follows me on Twitter. Shout out to the people that follow me on Twitter. And if you don't follow me on Twitter right now, I'm at Mr. Ernest Owens. But enough about that. Mitch McConnell held his ground. He said, you know what? I am going to, keep my foot and make sure that I get these appointments. So after that, another Republican came under Trump, but Mitch McConnell created the list for Trump, because no one saw Trump coming. But see, Mitch McConnell is strategic. Listen, he may not like a person, but if he see you coming, he is going to come. People say he's strong as bull piss. So he sent a list, and this is from the Federalist, I think it's called the Federalist Society, which came after Robert Bork, which became this new incubator system to get a lot of these very conservative young people to be connected. So this Federalist Society got lots of money. I mean, they got over $20-something million in revenue, and they're basically a network for a lot of Ivy League elitist type institutions of conservative law students and people who's interested. And it's this big ass network, and a lot of conservative judges and lawyers across the country pumps money into this so they can start vetting the next group. See, these Republicans don't play with that shit. Okay, when you look at the Koch Foundation, these conservative groups, they are putting money into these think tanks and these groups to try to get the next crop of white supremacists. Okay, I'm just keeping it 100. They are creating their own little society to get people in there. And so, I don't know. I mean, Democrats and liberals might have their own things, but when I look at some of these groups, they don't get as much funding the same way. So I'm a member of the New Leaders Council, and it is a progressive organization that works to try to get progressive people. They're nonpartisan, but they are trying to advocate inclusion, diversity, and progressive ideals. Their budget on a national level does not compare to some of these other big think tank groups and conservative groups that are pushing a certain type of right-wing slant and advocacy. A lot of these progressive types of groups that's trying to build young leaders and development, they don't have the same level of resources. So I see people raising money for these candidates, and I see people like Bloomberg run for president. But while y'all put millions of dollars in failed races and elections, how about you pump this money into the youth, into the programs that's going to develop young progressives that could be these leaders? But the Federalist Society does this, right? They allow these types of leaders to these young leaders to get this network in ways that they probably wouldn't. So anywho, Mitch McConnell goes through, and then, of course, as we know, the big, huge, epic meltdown becomes Brett Kavanaugh. And so when Brett Kavanaugh comes to the scene, here comes, Mitch McConnell ready for this fight. The Democrats are not playing. They don't want this man to get put on. But Mitch McConnell says, listen, I'm going to get these motherfucking votes. And what I try to tell people with Supreme Court nominations is that how the game is going to play based on who has the majority. See, Democrats like to play on ethics and morality. There is hardly any morals and ethics in American partisan politics. Okay, it is about meat. It is about blood. It is about that. And Mitch McConnell, knew that. I'm writing his eulogy as a majority leader. This is his eulogy to his seat as a majority leader. So I just want to say that this is a eulogy right now for Mitch McConnell in his majority leader seat in the legacy of his career, because his career is not going to be dead as of the time that the Senate finally confirms these Democrats. But this is a eulogy for Mitch McConnell and his work that he has done, the damage that he has done, the receipts, the edges he has slayed. And even if I don't agree with his politics, you have to acknowledge the damage and the work. You got to look at the material. The content is there, honey. This man has had decades and years of it. So this is a eulogy for Mitch McConnell's career. So, right? RIP to the career. Because he's done at this point. He is done. But knowing him, he might rise up from that ancient dead like a phoenix and, just come through and just say, you know what? Hold on, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was... Let me stop. But anyway, he pushed for the Federalist Society to have the type of programs that they have and to have some of the networks that they have advocate for. But when it came to Brett Kavanaugh, this was that moment where he was not going to let this stuff happen because, people was hearing the allegations of sexual harassment and rape that was being raised, by the people. And there was a lot of people protesting. And it's gotta be a lot of stuff going on. Mike Pence right now is snapping. A lot of people are talking about the division. But before we get to that point, because there's a lot of stuff going on right now, it's so much stuff. But with Kavanaugh specifically, this was a moment where Mitch McConnell had to really pull out all the guns because the public was on the side of, Kavanaugh's accuser. And that was not a good look for him. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't a good look for the Republican Party, the GOP. You know what I'm saying? This was something that was serious. Christine Blasey Ford, right? Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, gave a very stirring testimony and, spoke her truth. And I believe Dr. Ford. I believe victims, when they are when they come forward and they tell their truth in such a way, you have to believe them when they are identifying themselves. They are stepping forward and telling it and taking on that pressure. I don't understand why she would put herself in that type of position. I believe Anita Hill, right? People like that don't go up, right? Educated women, or any woman for that matter, that goes public to share their stories in such a way that for them, there was no monetary gain. There's nothing to be gained from coming forward in that type of way if you're just straight out lying. So I believe Dr. Ford, and she came forward and she gave that testimony, and it got Republicans in that room, even though they still ain't shit because they still elected that bastard. But they, got that moment where they were like, you know what, I'm going to listen to this person, and it was real. So Mitch McConnell was put up in a really uncomfortable position. Apparently, Trump contacted him nervous, like, hey, is this still our guy? Do we still go with this? And McConnell was like, it's going to happen. And McConnell played hardball, and he got him in. At that point, anybody else should have realized that at that point, the Republicans had been lost their soul, that they were trying to respond to 8 years of a black president, and that there was nothing that was going to stop them from moving forward. So when so then, of course, we lose, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We lose her, RIP, to RBG. And I'm not going to call her the notorious anything, because there's only one notorious, and that's the notorious B.I.G. And I need people to not culturally appropriate that name. I know there's some stuff about the son is okay with and all that, but there's only one notorious, that's the notorious B.I.G. Okay? But to Ruth Bader Ginsburg's credit, she has done great work. She has done a lot of important work, and her legacy will forever be within the Supreme Court and the policies for women's rights, reproductive rights, and other issues. So completely giving her that credit right there. But that being said, Mitch McConnell was grinning because he was like, I get another person. And that motherfucker then got 3 Supreme Court justices done under the Trump administration. Lord, Amy Coney Barrett gets put in and all hell breaks loose. And you knew looking at Amy Barrett Cohen what she was about. I don't care that she adopted black children. Some of the worst white people in the world has married black men, has married black women, has loved all of us, has fetishized us, has adopted black children, and still hate us. I could go down a long list of people who are problematic who've done that. So we ain't gonna talk about, oh, she adopted some black kids, because there's a lot of people who do that and you can still be problematic. The fact that she is even entertaining Donald Trump when this man talks about the countries that her adopted children have come from as being shithole countries, but you're going to get an appointment by this man. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. Bye, Amy. Stay mad, Amy. Stay pressed, Amy. Girl, bye. Because that kind of half-stepping, that's the kind of stuff I don't like. I can't rock with it. It's the deceit for me. So, long story short, Mitch McConnell is having a bad week, a bad day, a bad fucking year. Because he coming off of the highs of getting Amy Barrett Cohen and Coney in. He's come off the highs of fucking up the Supreme Court. He is coming off the highs of really having this power ride for a minute. And when they got the Senate, when the Republicans got the Senate back, he was empowered, flexing, and was determined on day one when Obama was in Senate, they was going to make sure they was going to make his life a living hell. So it was never about bipartisanship. It was never about coming to the table, which was so frustrating with me about Obama, because Obama, in spite of all that, kept trying to be the bigger person. And then you got Michelle here talking about when they go low, go high. I'm sorry. I'm going to sometimes catch you where you at. Sometimes you got to meet people where they at, slap them the fuck up, and then come the fuck up. Sometimes you got to get down to jump back up. So, all that, when they go low, we go high. I'm sorry. That's what happened. That's how we lost the Senate. That's how we lost, a lot of seats. We lost the House that way. We lost the presidency that way because we was trying to go high when they was going low. But the reality is we should have went low and got them together and then got back up. And we let them go low, that when it was time for us to go high, we couldn't because the damage had been done. So I love Michelle, Becoming, yada, 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 great stuff, great book, all that good stuff. But sometimes people take these metaphors to the next level. And let me say this, maybe when Michelle gave that inspirational quote, I don't think she meant that needs to be used in every single context. Because to be honest with you, the shit that's happening right now at the Capitol, the shit that's happening right now in our government, I'm sorry, but somebody better go over there and get that shit together. Because you can't be sitting up here being, passive aggressive and letting people go out here and say whatever, do whatever. People's lives are at risk. And, not everybody can afford to go high where people are going low. Let me say some of my emotional capital sometimes. Like people be coming and saying crazy stuff on Twitter and Instagram and other social media places. And sometimes, I let it fly, right? But there are times when you sometimes got to check a motherfucker. You got to say, you know what? This is not going to be okay. You're just not going to just talk reckless on my name or my work or anything or anybody I know. So sometimes you just have to tell people to fall back sometimes. And everything can't just be I'm above it, because sometimes you got to be under it a little bit. Get under people's skin is what they say. Just saying. So now that we got this context about Mitch McConnell, because I wanted to center him in this way so people can understand that there is a legacy. Okay, what we're seeing today with these white people cutting up and showing their ass, this type of disrespect was being encouraged, instigated, provoked by white men in power in American politics. These people didn't fall from the sky. This wasn't even just white men. Actually, my analysis would tell people that you should have paid attention to Sarah Palin in 2008 when Obama first ran. A lot of these people showed their ass when a black man became the president. But let me tell you something. You should have looked at what Sarah Palin was doing with that Tea Party. R.I.P. Tea Party, no tea, no shade. Where the Tea Party been? Right? Did the Tea Party just say, fuck it, we're going to become Proud Boys? What happened to the Tea Party? They just said we're just going to put on mega hats. What happened to the Tea Party? Go figure that shit out. But the Tea Party became stale and became something else because they said, you know what, the word tea ain't my thing, but we some Proud Boys. We some white supremacists. Mega. I feel like they just said, you know what, the Tea Party is a cute name, you say, right? Because back then, American politics was semi-civil. We have to say the Tea Party. We're Federalists. We're federalists. We're fundamentalists. We're people that's all about these types of political doctrines. We're about conservative values. But now these people being like, fuck all that. We white supremacists. We nationalists. We alt-right. You know, they got the new words now. Basically, they come in and show who they are, but them are the same people. Okay, them Tea Party people that use that little cute little, we're Mavericks. Fuck that. Mavericks, no. Racist, yes. But they were using different coddled language back then because we was in a more, for the lack of better words, a more civil society. Even though we were not. But that's the best way to describe what we're dealing with now. But I guess when you compare anything to hell, I guess it's a lot better. So we were in a civil society. I mean, a more civil society, not a civil society, a more civil society. And when we was dealing with those issues, politically, people said different things, but we started to see with Sarah Palin. I think people let Sarah Palin off the hook, but Sarah Palin was really drumming up this new wave of nationalism and racism and bigotry in a new modern context for the social media world. And she became a radical for those people, right? A radical mess. But she really represented that group, right? That quote unquote blue collar group. She represented a lot of those interests that were also really not really interested in the conservative party, like the GOP. Like this was a different renegade. See, these people are a different group. But with the GOP, the people like Michael Steele, black men like him that was the chairman of that, they want to distance themselves now. But you all saw this coming, okay? And to the late Senator John McCain, your campaign knew. I read those books, okay? I read Game Change. I read Double Down. I read the various books about these campaigns. And I think that people oftentimes forget that they didn't deal with proper vetting of her. And then when they did, they just rolled with the punches, which was to me a terrible decision in politics. Like, this person's reckless and you're letting them run. So let me say this about Sarah Palin. Sarah Palin, ran so Donald Trump can fly. Because Sarah Palin was on that crazy train. I mean, Donald Trump was on his own crazy train, but see, Democrats liked them back then, honey. He was on the Apprentice Girl, Lil Jon and all them, and Nene was getting Trump chicks. Okay, everybody was okay about Donald Trump when they thought that was cute. LaToya and all them was cool with Donald Trump. Even though, let's be 100, Donald Trump was problematic even then because he was out here putting bounties on innocent black men, the exonerated Central 5, which we now call the Central Park 5. He did that. He had a history of housing discrimination where the government basically was telling him, listen, you playing games, you out here discriminating, you racially discriminating. His father is a fucking hot mess. His family's a fucking mess. And, I know that he got Mary Trump, his niece or whatever, that want to write this book. Girl, you sat up here, you want to pour this tea at the 11th hour about your nasty ass, disgusting ass, fucked up uncle, and you now want us to try to act like you some fucking hero, and you got people out here like Out Magazine out here putting her, because I guess she's in the LGBTQ community like myself, but they'll put her on there, but won't put me on. I ain't gonna be messy. But like I'm just saying, they'll put her on there, right? Talking about how she tells the truth. It's funny that white women, regardless of their sexual orientation or their wealth status, they will always find a convenient time for them financially or socially to step forward and be quote unquote a good person. No, fuck that. It's not about how you do it, it's about when you do it. You let this man do all this shit and you sat up here and waited for a book deal to fucking do it. And Bob Woodward did the same thing. You knew that information about this man, that this man knew about this pandemic and knew about these issues, and you knew that stuff, and you just waited till you got a book deal to then put that out there. We got to have some responsibility. Let me tell y'all this right now. If I knew some tea on this president that was problematic, I'm not going to wait and let people die under misinformation. I'm not going to let people's lives be negatively impacted. I'm going to drop that shit on Twitter, Facebook, this podcast, or somewhere before anything. And sometimes we got to put principle over personal politics. We got to put principle over personal self-gain. And so I say all that to say that there was a lot of people who tolerated incompetence. Okay, and that's how we got into this shithole. So Sarah Palin, pretty much took advantage of the fact that John McCain's campaign was trash. It was trash. Obama was kicking his ass. Rolling Stone covers, rock star crowds. I mean, Obama was killing it in '08. I was 17 years old when Obama got elected. It was crazy. I don't know if we'll ever see something like that in our lifetime. Maybe we saw it with Trump, and it's the reverse. Like Trump is like the white supremacist Obama. Like he had crowds too. I ain't gonna take it from him. He had some crowds. He had rock star crowds. I mean, they were trying to say that he was buying them audience members. But no, let's be real. The white people really did, rock with Trump. So he's that for them. But for progressives, millennials, and people like myself, like Obama was like that political rock star for us at the time. And so when I look in full context at like what John McCain was up against, John McCain, he didn't have a chance. I mean, he tried his best to run a clean, decent campaign, but he just did not. He was not ready. I think sometimes we get caught up in everything that's going on where we ignore those principles. So the writing was on the wall, and at the end of the day, Sarah Palin, laid the groundwork for then what would be Donald Trump entering the political space in a more bold way. Because, around 2012, he was pushing birtherism. So before there was Trumpism, there's birtherism, which we know about. People let him get away with that. Obama threw some shots, right? Remember the Lion King at the Congressional Correspondents' Dinner? The White House Correspondents' Dinner, where he puts up the Lion King clip and, he shows his birth certificate and it's all that humor. But Trump was waking people up. Trump was really starting the shits. And so he laid that foundation before he was in office that emboldened a group. And that's how he got elected. And ever since he got elected, he spent 4 years double downing on that shit and got these people going crazy. Now, let me say this. There was a dry run in Michigan. Do y'all remember when them crazy ass white supremacists stormed Michigan State Capitol? They came up in the Capitol building showing their ass and showing their ass. That was a dry run. Gretchen Whitmer was the governor. They gave her threats of her life. They threatened her life. And Trump act like that shit was what it was. And y'all sat there and called that shit a protest. Y'all called that a protest. Y'all didn't call that domestic terrorism. Y'all didn't call that a threat to democracy. Y'all called that a protest. And I'm talking about my colleagues in this journalism field. Y'all tried to equivocate that to what Black Lives Matter people do. And if y'all don't stop conflating BLM to Antifa, not that I'm saying anything about them, but they're not the same. And so I just get annoyed when everybody want to put them together like they're the same people. They're not the same people. They might have similar things, like they don't support fascism. I don't think anybody should support fascism, but like conflating BLM, Black Lives Matter, to Antifa is just like that's not intellectually honest, and people need to stop just doing that. But people were making the comparisons like, oh, well, black folks are protesting and these white supremacists are protesting. Why are we comparing that like they are doing the same things? Because if a group of black activists stormed any state or national state capitol, they wouldn't make it past the goalpost without being shot. I didn't see no tear gas. I didn't see no rubber bullets. Y'all let these people sit up here and throw bows and talk crazy shit, talk cash shit, as we say down south. You all let these people really show their ass and buck up. Which lets me tell you how I feel about the police state. Because the police state will sit up and endorse and protect. And you know why? Because they endorse, the police union endorsed Trump for president. So they endorsed Trump for president. They co-signed him. They want those law and order policies. So these protesters out here that are now finally clashing with Trump, with the police. Prior to that, they low-key like that because they want to keep Trump in office, because they want those aggressive policies that's going to continue to marginalize black people like myself. So I don't personally trust the police in these situations. And even the way that Trump has been very passive about these issues. Come on, y'all. They are very blatant about how they want their teams to be supported. Like anybody that supports Trump is going to support them. Trump does not have a spine. Trump doesn't give a fuck. He's a very simple 5-year-old. If you rock with me, then I'm cool with you. If you don't rock with me, then I'm coming for you. He has literally backstabbed countless people in his administration. How many damn firings? Like he has fired more people than Diddy has. He done fired more people than some of your favorite celebrities and divas. No shade. He has fired more people than some of these other folks. And I just think a lot of people out here, take for granted some of the stuff that is happening in our country. And some of these people really, do not recognize some of the bad politics that has shaped those firings and stuff. So at the end of the day, Trump is childish. Like he's going to only rock with people. Like look at him, how he's turned on Mike Pence, which Mike Pence will never have any respect in my opinion, because at the end of the day, Mike Pence is a mess. And so Cory Booker really stepped up and kept it 100 by saying that, he is tying today's, insurrection, what happened today with the traitors of the Confederacy, which is spot on. He gave one of the best speeches. He said, we brought this hell upon ourselves. How will we confront this shame? But let me just say, motherfucker, who do we? Because I need you to clarify, homie. Like what you said, but who's the we? I just need to know. I just didn't know who the we is, though. I just need to know who the we is, because listen, I've been keeping that same energy, that same smoke. Listen, if this is what I get annoyed with politicians, because especially black politicians that really get national, get Hollywood. They love to talk about this, we are Americans, we are all one, and we are all this. But then when something goes down, then they be talking about racial injustice. Which one is it? See, I get why Biden be playing those games, because Biden's an old white man. Y'all know he got some racist ass tendencies. It is a fact. Google it. Come on, y'all. Articulate, clean, well spoken. Okay, y'all know what he'd be about sometimes. Okay, Biden, But let me just say this though. I understand an old white man, and I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying that it's easy to understand an old white man thinking the shit that he thinks, because he's in a world of white privilege where he can be able to have this type of quote unquote positivity. But black folks who've been out here living, you better put a name on that shit. Stop saying we, stop saying us, stop saying this is not who we are. Child, you know who we are. We as in italics. Put a name on that shit. Because we over here playing like this is okay. Y'all better stop playing out here and keep on conflating these people. Because we need some clarity out here. And there's a lot of people out here showing their ass right now. There's a lot of people in their bag. And I just want to just say that while we out here speaking truth to power, we sometimes need to call things what they are. You know what I'm saying? And a senior advisor apparently has said that, the president has lost it. And then people trying to praise Pence and McConnell, talk about how they're responsible for what they're doing. No. You don't get to, come on. People are saying that that there's discussion among cabinet members about invoking the 25th Amendment, but that has not been presented to VP Pence. But listen. Yeah. I just gag at how many chances white men get to fuck up. I just gag at how many chances white people, and specifically white men, get the fuck up. But white women too. Fuck it. White people get the fuck up. Because there's a lot of white people across both political party aisles that get the fuck up. And we, come in this space where we talk about holding grace, but we don't extend that grace to black people. There are still more people mad at Chrisette Michele for performing at the Trump inauguration 4 years ago than they are with people like Mitch McConnell or even Mitt Romney, right? Where every time Mitt Romney say something, then everybody be acting like, oh, Mitt Romney's sticking up and having integrity. Nah, Mitt Romney was that dinner table with Trump. Y'all forget that picture? Okay, that was like a deal with the devil. Why was you at that table, Mitt? But we should know Mitt was... Listen, 2012 election, okay, Mitt Romney wasn't shit. Some of the stuff he allowed to be said about Obama child when he got his ass whooped, that was hilarious. Because he saw his own party, which, let's be real, they have beliefs they wasn't going to elect that man. And there were people I know when I was in college, conservatives, at the University of Pennsylvania, my alma mater, which is also Trump's alma mater and his kids. Interesting. They said they didn't want to vote for Mitt Romney because he was a Mormon. They literally said that to me. They literally said it was because he was a Mormon. They didn't care that he was a rich white man with corporate experience. I mean, by all means, if we got to compare shit to shit, he would have been better than Trump. But my left foot would have been better than Trump. So I don't know if that is a fair comparison. But he would have been better than Trump. But right now, what we're seeing is a lot of these people are backpedaling. So at what point did you as a white man in power realize, okay, Trump is going too far? Trump went too far because now on national TV, we're seeing these thugs run up to the Capitol. We're seeing these domestic terrorists run up to the national Capitol and disrupt, okay? We're seeing a coup. And just because it's not successful don't mean it's not a fucking coup. Y'all out here creating all these, y'all keep moving the goalposts. It is a coup, okay? And these senators are doing sedition, okay? This is treacherous, this is treason, and you motherfuckers are disloyal and treacherous. And ratchet, because this is ratchery. This is ratchet. Ratchet Republicans. Ratchet Republicans, because this is what this is. Y'all are some ratchet Republicans and some ratchet white supremacists, and this is the stuff that y'all are doing. Y'all are showing y'all ass. And anybody who I know that is a black Republican right now that's trying to hold it down for these motherfuckers, fuck you. And the crew that you came with. Because at the end of the day, at this point, we know what it is. And the GOP, you don't get to separate yourself from it because you sat up here and these people that funded your campaigns, y'all ran these incompetent ass Republicans against you ran these incompetent Republicans in this Georgia race. Okay, Kelly can't say nothing to me. I'm just going to call her Kelly. I ain't even going to say her whole name, Loeffler or whatever the fuck it is, Kelly. Y'all let Kelly get up here and disrespect this reverend. Say a lot of ignorant stuff. Her team or people, her supporters couldn't even spell reverend. They was putting out crazy stuff about him. Couldn't even spell Israel. Couldn't even spell reverend. And just was disrespecting this man and making all types of false accusations. But I want to say shout out to the black women in Georgia. And I say black women because sometimes people love to center only one of us. Like as black people, they'll pick one black person they want to highlight. So everybody's talking about Stacey Abrams. And let me just say this, Stacey Abrams has done incredible work. As somebody who lost the election, she is the most generous loser I've ever met in my life, next to Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep has lost a lot of Oscars. But no. But to be clear, Stacey Abrams is the most generous loser I've ever met in my life. And I'm not saying she's a loser in shade, but as a person who lost a race that was stolen from her, and really she got it stolen from her. As someone who got something stolen from her gubernatorial race was stolen from her. They talk about narrow victory. I hate as a journalist, I have to write narrow defeat. Because in my heart, I know that was stolen from her. But I have to say narrow. It was a narrow defeat between her and Kemp. But I know in my heart that election was stolen from her. And so the crazy part about it is that she has continuously have done the work after that election, galvanizing people and really not only talking about voter turnout. See, everybody go register to vote, but not only do you have to get the vote, but you have to secure the vote. You have to protect the vote. And that was what Stacey Abrams and many other black women in Georgia understood. is that it's not just about getting people to the polls. You got to make sure that these people are safe. You got to make sure that the voting lines and everything is taken care of, because part of voter suppression is that you got people who register. You got people that got their voter cards. You get people that do that. But then you got people out here wiping out over 180,000 registered voters and really doing purges. Okay? You got people out here reducing the number of polling locations right before the January election was supposed to happen. So you got to understand the place that this woman has done to navigate this with her projects. You know, Fair Fight PAC, New Georgia project, all of these different initiatives that she's done. But there's been so many other Black women who also have mobilized in those ways. And so I want to, give them shout outs, Amy Castanel, Brittany Wiley, Nicole Presley, Rhea Thompson, Washington, Nessie Utah, or Etot. Women, other women who've done great work like Latasha Brown, right? Black Voters Matter really came in and did the work. You got Glow Vote, you the vote. Get your booty to the polls. Okay, them sex workers was getting people to the polls. Like, we always like to, shame, sex workers and people who do this work, but they really put in that work to get people to the polls. Election defenders, Enjoy to the polls. These were the type of organizations that Black women were leading, having influence over, that really helped get out that vote in Georgia and turn Georgia blue and got not one, but two Democrats elected to the Senate. And we now have our first ever Black Georgia senator. We now have the 11th Black senator ever elected in U.S. history. And it's fun to say that two of those people landed in the White House. Senator Kamala Harris, which, her politics are messy, but I'm just stating facts. She is now the vice president. Obama was a senator. He's in. Cory Booker ran for president. We know what happened there. But this is a part of a legacy. And so there's been 11 U.S. senators. And actually what's interesting about right now is that we currently have 3 Black senators in office again. So when Kamala left, now there's a new Black senator in place. Now, I would love to see a Black woman be senator. And so people have been saying Stacey Abrams should run for senator. Listen, Stacey needs to do whatever she wants to do. That's for her. I'm not in a position. I get so annoyed, especially when white women who consider themselves progressives or liberals try to tell Black people what they should do. You should run for office. You should do this. No. Stacey Abrams, do whatever you want to do. If you want to run for the Senate, run for the Senate. If you want to run for governor, let's do it. Run for whatever you want to run for, because at this point, you got the world in your hands. You got the state in your hands. And all of these Black women who has done this good work, I want you to really take this moment, enjoy this moment. I know that the country is now, this moment that was I remember getting up after this election on Tuesday and being really happy for the Black voters who came out and the people that really galvanized behind them to get them elected. And I was really motivated by them to really be inspired by the hard work and dedication they put out there, because there was a lot of people, a lot of political analysts, and I'm so sick of political analysts that have these opinions, they got all this shit to say about what they project. But you know what's funny? What I don't like about first of all, it's too many white men still doing political analysis for me. There's a couple more Black people, Aaron, Haynes, who's a good friend of mine, is always on MSNBC killing the game. You got Tiffany Cross, you have so many other Black women are getting a chance to talk. People are still booking Nina Turner, who did a lot of great work with Senator Bernie Sanders. But you have, you guys also got, Capehart, who's out here, killing. Capehart been around for a minute though, but he is still, getting new promotions. He got a new gig, with David Brooks, bless his heart. But Jonathan Capehart has been doing this work for a long time. And I think I'm happy to see that he's also advancing as well as a Black gay man, because there's not that many Black gay men who get the chance to get on these platforms. I mean, it's like Don Lemon and Jonathan Capehart. If there's more, let me know. I mean, Charles Blow is in the community, but he doesn't identify as gay. But listen, I'm here, y'all. Book me, pick me. I'm gonna pick me for media. Look, y'all don't see me being pick me. I got a new headshot with a tie. I look good. I look TV ready. I keep my hair cut every week. I get fresh every week. I will come on TV, and do it big for y'all. Like put me on. But I've made some CNN appearances. Victor Blackwell had me on. I've come on. Brooke had me on. Brooke, she's awesome. MSNBC, I've been on like a couple of times. But I enjoyed the appearances. I was on HNLN, when that was popping, and I would love to, make some more appearances, and just don't have me side by side screen. I don't like to argue with dumbass people, and I think sometimes with cable news, they love to see a fight. And so I just would love to just be able to give a perspective in a safe environment. But sometimes you just got to get dirty. And y'all want to see me debate. But sometimes I just, it gets annoying. I've made some appearances where on HLN where I was talking about Chick-fil-A and other types of, it was a Chick-fil-A one. Then I did one about, Lando being pansexual. And that was the Star Wars film Lando, and Donald Glover was playing him, and they were talking about the character being pansexual, like what does this mean for kids, and what does this mean for kids, and are kids going to be impacted by this? And I just be like, listen, just like with Cardi B earlier this year, she was talking about, how she turns WAP off when her child is there, and people was like saying, oh, if it's not good for your kids, why is it good for mine? Well, she never said it was good for your kids. Okay, let's be very clear. If you don't have control over what your kids are watching, that is your problem, not Cardi B's problem. I get so tired of people, talking about, listen, WAP is on every station and everything. But at the end of the day, listen, the kids ain't been all right for a long time. I grew up hearing all kind of stuff. Listen, I would sneak late at night, me and my besties, and we would watch BET Uncut when it used to be on at 2 o'clock at night. My mother would fall asleep. She couldn't have stopped me. Listen, one time we got caught, what y'all watching here? We turned that thing off real fast, okay? But that's what, remember when Real Sex was on HBO? When that was before, that was a soft porn era, I guess, where they would, have that, people sneak that on. The Cinemax used to be really raunchy at night when it was remember that Cinemax used to have them things what is going on? I don't know if they do that anymore, but they would have the little thing you would flip on, flip out. That little, I don't even have a TV where I'm just all internet. I'm cordless now. But I remember you used to flip it on real quick to just switch it back on real quick. So it'd be Cartoon Network. But kids are going to be kids. Kids are bad. Kids are mischievous. Kids are innocent. Kids are impressionable. And so at some extent, you can't be blamed. I'm not blaming BET for having that, because BET put it on late hours. And as an adult now, as a grown-ass adult, I shouldn't have all of my content be kiddie friendly just because some of y'all don't know how to raise your kids. I'm just saying, there's ratings and stuff, y'all. I just say, listen to what your kids are listening to. Have conversations with kids. Look at your kids' social media accounts. Let me tell you something. I'm a big brother to 2 people that are under 18. One of my brothers is going to be 18 in March, so I'm still going to be on his ass. But one of my brothers is 10 years old. I look at his social media. He doesn't really have that many social media pages, because to be quite honest, at 10 years old, you ain't supposed to really have all that. But, I monitor him I eavesdrop. Yes, I eavesdrop. Talk about privacy. Now, I don't roll up on him and be like, hey, what you doing right here? What you listening to? I don't do all that. But, I do peek in a little bit, check in. I hear something, going on in his room. If he's, when I'm over for the holidays or whatever the case is, I hear some noise or something. I check in. I call him and say, how's things going? I just monitor, because you got to do that. That's what being responsible is. So as a big brother, I have to be that way. And my mom and people, they do all that too. But, I just think we do need to just check in. And I'm not a parent, but I just think that checking in is necessary. I check in as a big brother. I check in as a mentor to younger people that I talk to and work with sometimes. I just think it's important to always just check in. And I think some of these parents are too busy trying to compete with their kids for Instagram followers and TikTok and stuff, that they too busy, trying to be, get a glow up off of social media for the wrong reasons, that sometimes it be them that model that behavior that their kids see. I'm seeing a lot of kids, they say some of these parents are complaining, but I say, you're dressed like Cardi B. You're doing the same stuff she's doing. You carrying on in your account the same way she is. Your kids mimic their parents' behavior. I definitely got my smart assness from my mother. My mother is smart as hell. My mother is going to be 50 actually this month. And she is a brilliant, incredible woman. And I talk a lot about my family in my sneak peek episode. So go watch the previous episode. But she's awesome. And I get a lot of my inquisitiveness from her. Because she's inquisitive. I mean, when I was little, she would interrogate the hell out of me. She like, where was you going? You was spending that much time at the store? It don't take that long to walk over to the Walmart across the street and just get eggs. 30 minutes, interesting. I was like, damn, she know. But like the inquisitiveness, became my passion. And I turned into journalism. And now I'm inquisitive to tell you the news. But I believe I got that from my mom specifically. And she still does it now. It cracks me up when she does it in other ways, especially with my younger brothers. Like she really be grinding them and like, and interrogate, being an active parent, right? So she's not blaming Cardi B. I think my brothers heard WAP and hear it. But when WAP comes on the radio and my little brother was singing it, she was like, sir, we don't say what it is. We just say WAP, okay? But, I just think sometimes we just be pointing the fingers too much at certain celebrities, right? Let's just say Kim Kardashian and Kanye West had a divorce. People ask me what my thoughts about it. I don't give a fuck. Next topic. So part of the other issues with the Georgia races that I think is really important is that I really want this to be a movement where we're seeing it's not just happen in Georgia, but we can see it happen in Texas. Because I think people keep cracking on that glass ceiling in Texas to see something move. And Texas might be able to move. I think Texas got potential. I just need Beyonce to show up more early in telling people who she support to get the excitement. Don't wait till motherfuckers are registered to vote. Get them before they're registered to vote. Because I think when those people are like, okay, I see who she's going for, which I think at the point everybody knows Beyonce's a Democrat. If anybody thinks that Beyonce's a Republican, listen, Beyonce can rock a beautiful red dress. Did you see that number she wore at the Grammys when Adele stole her album of the year? People that like that red outfit, no? You have to wrap that up. Nobody liked the red. I thought it was cute. What a burgundy. Okay. Maybe that was just me. But I think she's a Democrat, and I think people don't have to worry about what her politics are at this point. I think people know she's progressive. I mean, how many LGBTQ folks, trans people, other folks she lift up? How many, listen, she definitely is not riding the Trump train, clearly. I mean, she showed up for Hillary. I mean, some people, So I just vote, y'all. But all this in context, and this is, part of it, is that while our country is under attack, people have been talking to me, reaching out to me, asking me, what do I think about some of the stuff that's happening? Like, and I just want people to understand, I'm not really crazy about like trying to wow white people anymore. I think people are so pressed to try to explain to white people the difference. White people been knew. White people knew so much that they wanted to rub it in your face how privileged they are compared to you. Like white folks have been known, because when white people say they don't understand if racism exists, I always find that very interesting, because they'll say they didn't know racism exists, right? But then the crazy part about it is that they will then continue to pursue a career where they will perpetuate those same narratives that will reinforce white supremacy and bias and all of those things. So in one breath, they tell you, I'm against racism, I'm an anti-racist. Girl, bye. Ciao, bye. Dude, chillax. Everybody loves to say that. When we look at the Black Lives Matter protests that happened last summer, a lot of these white people was doing all this crazy shit, turning Instagram pages black, and, they were doing a safety pin a couple of years back. I'm an ally, I'm a this, I'm a that. But then every time we get to an election or something gets real, here they go. We gotta have civil discourse. How am I having civil discourse with a motherfucker that wants to kill me? To me, this is a matter of life and death. This is not a difference of opinion. A white supremacist has the interest in suppressing the lives of people that are not white. And if you're a white person and you look at it as a different opinion rather than a bounty hunt on somebody's life, then you have the game twisted. And so I am at the point where if I hear a white person say there's a difference of political beliefs versus a matter of life and death when it comes to white terrorism and domestic terrorism, see, I know you are full of shit when you continue to treat these things as ideas and opinions rather than actual policies and actions that impact people's lives. And so that's the thing for me, is that Black people have for a long time been telling people that this shit is impacting my life. And all you all are saying is, oh, people need to, we have to change our thinking. And, people have different opinions and we got to figure out what's causing that. What's causing that is motherfuckers don't want to get off the pot. Like, they don't want to get out of positions of power where they are centered in ways that elevate them above other people. Okay. If you are a white person that continues to see Black and brown people in your workplaces not get job promotions or opportunities, and you continue to get promotions and you don't see any diversity and racial diversity happening, then you are a part of the problem. You are complicit with that. Like, white supremacy does not have to always be blood and gore. White supremacy don't have to be a group of these assholes storming the Bastille. White supremacy can be as simple as looking at your boards, the organizations you run, you lead in and work in, and consistently being okay with not seeing Black and brown people there in positions, not only servitude positions, but positions of power. And if you're not willing to confront that outright and speak that out loud without fear of retaliation, then to me, the cowardice is what's prolonging this. I'm tired of people talking about how they're scared to tell the truth. And then they get mad when they say, well, where are the good people? Well, there's no good people if you're not speaking the truth, because good people speak the truth. Good people have courage. Good people have integrity. And if you don't have those things, then you're not a good person to me. So people don't want to hear that. I've been out here lately, making some news on Clubhouse, going viral on Twitter, talking about scammers, talking about people who are doing business in ways that are nefarious, talking about people that's out here misleading folks, having conversations with people on platforms, And one of the things I've seen is that there are a lot of people who will tell you after the fact that they knew. Let me tell you something. Don't you ever tell me something about me after the fact. Because if that happens, you're canceled. In my book, I can't be friends with somebody that saw somebody try to hurt me and said they saw it coming and they give me a heads up. I don't do that. I always tell my friends, listen, I heard this is what I saw. Watch out. I'm never going to let anybody I call a friend, and even not even just a friend, but if I see somebody that, is doing work or doing something or innocent person, I'm never going to let somebody get got. If you sat there and you allowed yourself to hear that shit, then you got to deal with that shit. If you sat in a room and you heard somebody trying to target a Black woman or a trans woman in a way that was unfair and cruel and harmful, malicious, if you sit in that room and you can sit there and hear it, then you have a moral obligation to get your ass up and inform that person. And if you don't say something, then you are complicit in the violence and you are part of the problem and not the solution. And I think we have to get to a point where we start emphasizing values, ethics, integrity, moral, fairness, right? We have to start talking about the importance of values, because I think in this country, we have consistently tried to replace intrinsic moral values and self-respect for material things, titles, positions, all these distinctions. And we have used those things to be able to try to signify the things that we think is going to suggest. But in a time where a fucking white supremacist can be a United States president, then we know that titles don't mean shit. Because anybody can get these things at this point. And for many years, many people who don't deserve have. You have a man that's accused of rape. You have a man that's accused of sexual harassment that is currently sitting on the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, making decisions that's going to impact Black people, women, and other folks. That is what we currently see right now. And so we cannot anymore lean on titles and positions to substitute the output work. So when a person tells me what their position is, you better say that followed by what you do. Because I'm not going to assume that just because you are a president or just because you are a Supreme Court justice, that automatically that means you're a person of integrity. Because I know that the ways in which people get these things come from cheating, come from slander, exploitation, extortion, and everything else that comes in the book. And when you got people like Mitch McConnell that plays dirty politics to get things to get done, which is the lesson of this day, right? Then you know that we're in a system that is unfair. We're in a system that requires people to do more than just have a title, but to actually show the values that are supposed to align with it. I had to say that because in this new year, I too often hear so many people coming to me, talking to me about all of these various issues and plot lines and things like that. But we got to be real here. We got to be real because that's why all of these things are happening. So, and going into that, I do want to talk about this issue in Philadelphia because, I live in Philadelphia. I have a lot of folks from Philadelphia that listen to my podcast, but shout out to all of my national listeners. But I really want to talk about this gun violence issue that's just escalating. And, I've written about this. I got a piece that I'm working on that's coming out. It's probably going to be out by the time this podcast come up, but it's out. It's going to be out, Philadelphia Magazine. I'm the editor at large. And I really wrote this really deep piece about the issues that are happening with gun violence in Philadelphia. And, we hit 499 homicides at Philadelphia in 2020. Now, I'm going to say this. This is my personal opinion. So I got to state facts, but also I want to give my opinion in this. So the facts is that currently the number is 499 reported. And that was in the Philadelphia Inquirer and other various media outlets. That being said, I have heard from sources, allegedly, okay, this is an allegation, that the city really tried very hard not to get that number to hit over 500. I am saying allegedly because I don't want to say that the city fudged numbers or did whatever, but they were really, I know that they were the departments from the sources I've received this credible information from, they were very much adamant on not seeing that number become 500. Now, I'm not saying it's a Trump thing where he said, go find 11,000 votes or go find some negative homicides to get us down to 500. But there were people that said there was an emphasis on the city not trying to have that number be 500. So 499 it is. Interesting. Just interesting. But that being said, there is 499 reported homicides that happened in 2020 with the report. And one of the things I always say is that every new year you can expect bullshit from the mummers and a very disappointing annual homicide report. And so the mummers showed their ass this year. Not even gonna give them much energy, but they basically, did not be able to have their disgusting, racist, problematic, transphobic ass parade that they have every New Year's for every year. Wonderful. Sensational. I think that one of the things is that they're mad. They had it. They went out there. Many of those people did not have masks on. They showed their ass and they got a little bit of media buzz. We didn't give a fuck over here where I was at. We didn't really talk about it. We didn't really care. So fuck them. But some more important news. The homicide report. This is ridiculous, right? These numbers are high. And they're saying that the numbers is because of COVID. They're saying that because there was all these issues with COVID, that is why. But I'm going to have to keep it 100, y'all, because y'all know there's only one way I can keep it. If it's either 100 or 1,000. Sometimes 1 million, but, that's rare occasions. But I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all real quick. There was a homicide problem in Philadelphia before the pandemic. We're not about to act like it was peace, okay, in Philadelphia, and then all of a sudden this pandemic done swoosh, and all of a sudden people got guns and started shooting people. That is not what happened. There was already a bad, high, deadly rate. I mean, the 2019 numbers were really high. The 2018 numbers were high. Like, there has been a really stiff increase in homicides since 2017. That was the highest in the decade, if not beyond that, okay? So to those who do this work and do this gun violence advocacy work and talk about these issues, you all know that some of the stuff that's being said about the pandemic, yes, the pandemic did escalate the issue. And on a national level, the pandemic did. We saw issues in Chicago. We saw issues in other parts of the country. So I'm not disclaiming the fact that the pandemic played a role. And for people who don't understand how, they're just saying that because there was a lot of social distancing and certain barriers and in different work shift situations that some of these crimes couldn't be addressed. But again, I'm very cynical, like how, or they're talking about arrests or people, not being, put through the courts. I mean, there was all these things about because of the pandemic that kind of pushed it. But that being said, honestly, I think that the pandemic revealed that, with the controls in place, how far Philadelphia gun violence can escalate in this town. Because let me be clear, other overall crime, property crime, other types of crimes outside of this type of homicide, gun violence is actually, staying pretty low. Interesting. It's not skyrocketing like it used to back in the day, where it was the petty crimes, the robberies, and robbing people's homes. I don't really hear people trying to rob people's homes. I think people are scared as fuck, because I think when you hear about these homicides, you be like, oh, that means motherfuckers got guns in the house, right? Everybody say, okay, I walk in somebody's house, pop pop. So I think part of it is that because there's more guns out in the streets, people realize, listen, I don't go. When I was younger, there was a culture people used to go into people's homes. Okay, and this was in Texas. I think my house one time, somebody went into my house, my apartment when I was younger, and stole some things. They didn't really rob the whole house, but I think somebody went through a window in my house or something. That's why I stay on the third floor. My mother, we lived in an apartment complex. She was on the first floor. And then, there was one time where it was a big, huge flood because, Houston was notorious for them floods. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of water. And at that point, she said, okay, I'm never doing this again. I think apartment complex in Texas, it was like cheaper to get the first floor or something. I don't know what it was. But once that happened one good time and we had that robbery, we said, okay, second floor, third floor, because you ain't going to rob a third floor of an apartment. I mean, unless you're breaking down that door, but you can't climb up that window. So it's a different level. But in Philadelphia, I think people, robberies may still happen. I think car robberies happen. People break into people's cars, but they don't go into people's, houses around Philly like that anymore. And I think that plays a role into it. But anywho, the crime numbers are staggering. And one of the things that I write, because, like I said in my sneak peek episode, which you can tune in on my politics, is that I don't support the police. I am about abolishing the police system. I do find that the police system as it currently stands, and as we witnessed with these riots, okay, with this anti-democratic domestic terrorism by white supremacists that we saw at the nation's capital, that there are a lot of people who are okay with a lot of the bullshit. And they are complicit with the bullshit. And that they're okay with perpetuating the bullshit. And in a police state, that's what it's all about. Okay, these officers, the way that the city recruits people, these people are not from the communities. These people are predominantly white. These people don't have cultural sensitivity training. These people have a history of documented racism. I mean, tons of racist Facebook posts. You got a police union chief that refers to protesters as rabid animals and in reference to Black Lives Matter protesters. You're comparing them to being rabid animals? Animals? That's racist. That's a racist ass statement. And so when you have that type of reputation in this city, and it continues to be lawsuits where you have the police commissioner and even the mayor supporting fake news, false information, and lies that are saying that the protesters were out here being violent and being out of order. And it took the New York Times, okay, a national worldwide publication, had to expose you all on camera and show that these people were being unfairly and brutally tear gassed, shot with rubber bullets while they were trying to escape. They were trapped. And they were being terrorized and attacked by the police. And he had to get your ass at that press conference last summer and apologize. That was when I had called for the resignation of Mayor Jim Kenney of Philadelphia, because his incompetence disgusts me. And in that moment, to me, that was the most utter blow to democracy. And so I had to really make it clear that I don't support this mayor. I'm not a fan of this mayor, and the politics and the policies he continue to disrupt and annoy and disrespect the Philadelphians. So that's why I can't with him. But that being said, I don't support the police, and I am all about defund the police. And so when this situation happens, this is why I tell people, why are we funding a police state that are saying protect and serve? And goddamn it, we know they're not serving. So I'm on the level where they're not even serving black and brown people. They're not serving people fairly. But let's talk about the protect aspect in that protect and serve. Are they really protecting people? Like, these homicide rates keep going up, but they keep getting more money. And yet we don't see results. Or they get their fundings protected. They ask for raises. Their budget does not get impacted by the pandemic. Even when all the defund police stuff was escalating in the summer, the city did not give them a reduction. They just did not give them a raise, but they kept their budgeting was flat. And this is talking about over $700 million as a budget. Y'all don't even got tasers? And y'all talking about y'all need money for tasers. What the fuck are y'all doing with $700 million in a budget? Y'all got more money than many of these institutions. I think 25% of the city's budget goes to quote-unquote criminal justice, which is AKA prisons and motherfucking jails and policing. Like, this is what the money goes to. And so y'all are guaranteed money. And you got people out here unions are asking for increased contracts with no transparency. And so what are y'all doing with this money? Because to me, if it's about fighting crime, you're not fighting crime. You're not. People getting shot and killed. These numbers keep going up. These numbers been going up, and y'all don't have any real solutions. So as the money go up, the homicides go up as well. Ain't that supposed to be the opposite? Shouldn't it be the more money that the police department gets, the lower the homicides and the killings go? I mean, that's supposed to be what the trajectory is. So then my logic is, I wonder if we took that money and put it into other programs, what would happen, right? We got research that says that, if there are hospital-related intervention programs, those are effective. We know that after-school summer programs are effective. We have so much information about the various programs in place that will help address this problem. And yet we still continue to, act like all of this is all equivocal. We would love to keep on pretending like all of this stuff that we're witnessing is all fair and love and war, but it's not. It's not accurate. You know what I'm saying? We have solutions. We have things that have shown that, right? Like, if you put more nonprofits in a community that are equitable, legitimate nonprofits, if you put that in there, you would see. They say that crime decreases when there is an increase in nonprofits in an area. Hospital-based intervention programs have been proven through research to be highly effective and efficient, okay? And they are also cost efficient. You also have, summer youth programs and mentorship programs that have significantly lowered the violent crime amongst participants. And that's even long after the programs have ended. So that's where the money should be going. Because everybody's always like, Ernest, where are your solutions? You only got complaints. Listen, I can have all the fucking complaints. Legislators should be the ones coming up with these ideas. Pay me if you want all these solutions. Pay black consultants. Pay black people that do communications work. Pay people. Period. And that's what annoys me sometimes, is that we get into situations where we don't want to pay people, or we ask for black people's labor and strategy and efforts. But to be quite honest, these people know this information. There are countless public, programs and institutions that put out annual reports and try to get this stuff to elected officials. And elected officials will look at this stuff and say, interesting. And a lot of times they do, and I just got to call these people out. They love to have hearings and testimonies and town halls. How many testimonies and town halls are you going to have on these problems, whether it's related to gun violence or poverty? How many of these damn testimonies? How many times are you going to ask victims to step forward and pour out their emotional guts and gore and vulnerability out there to the public. Like how much of that trauma do these people have to put on the line in order for you to believe them or to hear them? Like I'm just tired of hearings. I think they're very performative. I think that a lot of times these hearings are meant for these people to hear themselves talk, for them to showboat. It doesn't. There's no real productivity that's actually coming from this type of work, and so stuff like that always grinds my gears, y'all. I just really, really like can't take it. So all that being said, I think the case that we should say for addressing eliminating gun violence initiatives and is really more proof that because of these high homicide rates that are continuing to happen before and during the pandemic, is proof that that the police are not the solution, that funding the police in this type of manner is not the solution. So we have to defund the police. And one day, hopefully, we can eventually abolish it. But right now, let's talk about these defund efforts, because there is too much money going every year to the police department. And for what? They're actually not protecting people and they're not serving people. Okay? Because there are lots of Black and brown people who are actually afraid of the police. Okay, they're afraid. I have been in a situation where I was taken to a counterterrorism unit and interrogated by the police over a Facebook post that I made that was actually purposely misconstrued by a mummer that actually tried to suggest that I was making a terroristic attack because I basically said there needs to be a day of reckoning for the mummers for their racist ways. And everybody knows that a day of reckoning is a form of speech. That is a rhetorical type of phrase that is, based in rhetoric. It's what writers say, right? And so the fact that they interpreted it that way, they then reported it. Okay, this is like a Karen moment. And we're going to talk about the word Karen because we're going to cancel the word Karen. Somebody's going to call it the Kim moment. But no, it's a white man's moment, right? This white man decided that he was a mummer, that he wanted to target me because I was calling out their racist behavior, that he sent this Facebook post to them, and then they called me and demanded I come into the room. And then, they interrogated me about my career, my writing. And so this felt like a violation of my free speech. And as a journalist, I was interrogated by the police state. And this happened a couple of years ago. There's a story about it in the Philadelphia Inquirer, and a great journalist, Black journalist, did that story, Mensa Dean, who covered this. And it's all on the internet. You can look it up. And it was just disgusting to me. And so they will waste their resources interrogating award-winning, publicly known, respected, law-abiding journalists, Black journalists, but they don't have this energy to find these known shooters that everybody knows out here in these streets and bring them and hold them accountable. But that's because the police state was never really invented to protect Black people. So we got to disavow this notion that the police are meant to protect Black communities the same way they protect white communities. They're not. Okay, we know that historically, the early days of policing started from Ku Klux Klan men that were out there being night catchers, right? They were out there being watchers. They were out there in the streets, and that these codes and these units and these groups were formulated from this type of hate. Mm-hmm. And we saw the police state consistently in decades sick dogs, fire hose on Black people. And we see them doing that stuff even now with the current Black Lives Matter, where there's massive tear gas and attacks on Black bodies for people that's practicing their First Amendment rights. So there's always been a bounty on Black people by the police state. And that's why I think we should abolish it. And before we do that, let's defund it. So I'm not in favor of continuing to increase police budgets, especially when we have seen that these homicides continue to rise. We can see this crime, and we see them not actually do any of the things that they say they do, and are completely ineffective. And that's why we should support it. And that is that on that. So let's talk about this Karen thing. I wrote a piece for the Daily Beast. See, I'm everywhere. I love writing. I have some things that I got to write actually later on this, in a couple of days. But I love writing. And so this piece I wrote was about canceling Karen, the term Karen, because I have gotten so sick and tired of folks making this Karen thing a thing. And let me say something. I was one of those people when Karen was trendy and everything, in the early, phases. I was out here using the term Karen, Becky with the good hair. We used Becky first and then became Karen. But recently, I have noticed that this Karen thing has really exploded and has become this thing where now white people are starting to use it towards other white people. No, 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 no. You don't get to call a white woman a Karen, white man. Because to be quite honest, you were doing some problematic shit too. So you can't be pointing no fingers. You listen, it's the pot calling the kettle black for me. A white man calling a white woman Karen is like, what? Like, do you understand that Karen herself got her shit from you and she's duplicated you, Ken? Like, that's what the pattern is. Okay. So Karen and Ken or Chad, Kurt. Kurt. Any of these people, right? The names that we've made, for these people have led to the problems that we've seen. But the issue is that what was started off, which let me be clear, Karen was not created by Black people. I've talked to Black feminists and people who have said to me that the Karen analogy, I think it was like Dane Cook and others that kind of ran with this Karen narrative. But Black people kind of, took this under their wing and remixed it to it being the type of white woman that wants to wreak terror on Black people. So she calls the cops on Black people at a cookout. She calls the police when she feels, quote unquote threatened. She's entitled. She's a liar. She's vindictive. Amy Cooper at Central Park in New York was a landmark Karen case, right? And so these types of situations, people started to use that term. But what I started to recognize in that is that we were basically hiding the identities, the names of white women who was doing these problematic things. So if we kept calling everybody a Karen, well, who is the real person behind that name? And there was an incident that really woke me up about it was this young Black man who is the son of a Grammy award-winning musician who was at a hotel. And he had his cell phone, he had an iPhone, because everybody got an iPhone except for Ernest Owens. I'm Android, baby. Team Android. Shout out. Okay. # Team Android. Not promoting Android. This podcast is not sponsored by Android. But I want to be very clear that, I don't have an iPhone. So he had his iPhone, and this white woman, I guess, was at the hotel like, oh, I lost my iPhone. She tells him, oh, you stole my iPhone. That, because Lord forbids a Black man also has an iPhone too. Lord forbids a Black child, a teenager, a minor has a iPhone, right? Because only white women apparently have iPhones and apparently don't lose their minds or lose their phones. So she's saying her iPhone was stolen. She accuses this Black child of having it. The father, who is the Grammy-nominated musician, his father is protecting him. And like, you don't got to talk to them. You don't got to do any of that. We're going to mind our business. And shout out to that dad for doing that. Because too often, a lot of times you will have, Black parents in fear. And so when Black parents are in fear, they want their kids to, be to comply. But in this situation, police was not involved, so there was protections in place. But there was security, right? There was, the hotel manager who basically tried to ask him, what was going on, and a lot of that stuff that was brought up in the conversation, was basically a problem, because the manager wanted him to pretty much, I guess, provide, this type of information. Show your cover screen is what the manager was asking the young man to do. And, you can't just simply sit up and ask somebody to show, to pull out those type of receipts, like to simply ask him to, put that out there or to show that, to me was problematic. And I thought that was something that was just a wake up call. People said that from Emmett Till to Amy Cooper, racism eats away at America. Sophia Nelson at the Daily Beast wrote this piece last year. And the thing about it, is that she wouldn't let it go. She launched at this teenager. She kept grabbing at him, and this is all on this man's Instagram. This is all on social media. This story went viral. And she's launching at him and completely just being combative. And then we find out that she actually left her phone in her Uber. And the Uber person came back to give her the phone. She's not apologized to that young man and his family. The hotel doesn't really actually address the issue until after the situation goes viral. And then they later on, this happened in New York, by the way. Okay, liberal ass New York. The hotel posted that that they apologized, that it was a misunderstanding, it was an issue, and that they reached out to the son and father to fix it, whatever, to address it or whatever. But the damage was done. The Karen had left her mark, which is that she gave this child a traumatizing experience he's going to remember for the rest of his life. And that's what Karens like to do. Karens like to inflict this fear. But the issue is, the reason I'm calling this woman a Karen, and I hate calling her this, is because we don't actually know her identity. We don't actually know her name. And so media outlets just said an unidentified white woman, and media outlets just ran with Karen this, Karen go out, Karen this. And to me, journalists are supposed to do due diligence to identify and find these people out and find out who their names are, what they are. And what happens is that we let white women get away with being unidentified by name. So with the power of that, it's like, look what happened to Amy Cooper when they identified Amy Cooper by name. They tried to take custody away from her dog. They came for her hard. I think she, got cut off from organizations. Maybe she lost her job, but she definitely suffered from it, and she deserved it because she sat up there and she lied on that black man, who was minding his business. This was a black gay man who was at the park, at the Ramble, and she basically acted out that she was under attack and threatened by a black man on camera. And she knew he was filming her, and she performed in ways that she wanted to use the police state to come there. And what would have happened to him if the police came there at that time and saw what was going on? That white woman used what she thought was her fragility to basically ruin that man's life, or attempt to ruin that man's life. That man could have died. And too often than not, we have seen a history where white women's lies led to black lives that have died. When a white woman lies, a black man could die. And I say that because that's serious, because too often we don't really dive deep into the real consequences of why a Karen behavior is. See, this is what I keep talking about with people, that everybody want to do this whole difference of opinion. This wasn't a difference of opinion. This was a difference between life and death. Okay. That Karen, right? That quote unquote Karen deserves to have a name. All right. Say Karen's name too. Say Karen's name. Because at the end of the day, this type of violence that's happening right now is real. It's a lot. And we're seeing a country that has tolerated racism for too long, right? We're at a time where Trump aides are begging for his top officials to stay after the mega mob attacks, right? They're begging people to stay complicit, right? And so people are talking about all of these vicious things, these horrible things. The GOP lawmakers are abandoning challenges to Biden's electoral win because now all of this shit has gotten crazy. The House Democrats are urging Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment. They want him to remove Trump for his quote unquote shocking behavior. There ain't no shocking behavior. He's been doing this behavior. Just say you want to remove him for the sake of democracy. And it's a lot of this behavior that's been going on for a minute. And, it's a lot. And so, Mike Pence had read a letter and he said, quote, that President Trump revealed that he is not mentally sound and is unable to process and accept the results of the 2020 election. Are you fucking kidding me? Again, this type of fragility, right? This type of this victimhood that these white terrorists, right, and put onto people. And so I'm telling people that do the work to call people by their names. Say Amy Cooper's name. Say these liars' name. Because letting these people be unidentified protects them and give them a shield and a anonymity that they don't deserve. And I think that that's some of the things that I want to see more people do. I want journalists that are listening to this podcast to start naming people and calling people out. Because when black people get in some shit, they don't say a Larotney was at the liquor store. They don't say a Tyrell or a Shaniqua. They don't just make a name up for somebody. They don't give us that, right? They don't say Leroy, another Leroy. But we'll say Florida man to cover up white men from doing shit, right? Let's stop doing that. Because the shit's really not funny. And I think that's what's gotten the point, is that people are trying to make this shit funny. Like, there's people on YouTube doing top 20 Karen moments. Look at the Karens have meltdowns. Do you understand that those black people, those black and brown people that had that Karen exchange in that moment was scared for their lives, that was interrogated? It was not funny. It was not funny. It was not silly. It's something to go viral and laugh about. People are making dumb shit go viral. But they've been doing that, right? Because most of the time, dumb shit do go viral, sadly. But I try to make smart shit go viral. I love when I go viral. I went viral for going after Justin Timberlake and his cultural appropriation and screwing over Janet Jackson, okay? Make smart shit go viral. But we don't do that sometimes. We don't, and I'm seeing some people do make some smart shit go viral. But there is a lot of dumb shit that still goes viral. And I think this Karen thing has now become a joke. And if white people are in on a joke, then something's wrong. Because white people, this is not for you to engage in. If anything, you need to be calling up that problematic white woman in your family and tell her, stop calling the cops. Stop doing that. Stop calling the manager. Leave that person the fuck alone. Go to the out and get that shit yourself. Before you accuse somebody of stealing some shit, go check your purse. Go check your wallet before you would try to accuse a black person of doing something. But see, people do this stuff because they think it's okay. They know that they're not going to get checked. So let's cancel the Karen culture. Another thing I want to cancel, since we're on cancellations, I am going to do my hardest. There is a term that's been in my vernacular for a long time, and as a journalist, sometimes it's a quick fix to say something, but I know that people have noticed that I may have not said it on the show. Because normally I use this term a lot, and I think a lot of people are noticing that I haven't used it yet. But I'm going to stop using this term, and I want you all to stop using the term too. Work with me here. I gotta, this is a big one for me. So let me, I gotta sip a little bit of water. I feel like a comedian on a stand-up one-man show type of thing. One of the things I need people to stop doing and saying. Ready for it? Drum roll, please. That ain't a drum roll, but you know what I'm saying. People of color. We're not saying that word in 2021. People of color, POC, stop it. And I love it because I got this wind protector where I can say stop it, and you're not going to stop it. Stop using that word. Stop saying people of color. Because let me tell you something about that term, people of color. People of color has become anti-black. People of color has been a lot of things that are not for us. Okay. People of color has been a term that has been used in ways that has kind of, erased a lot of the real work, and identities and mention of black people. So when I hear people say people of color, stop that shit. There was somebody on Twitter that was saying, women of color was out there helping the Georgia elections. No, honey. It was black women. BLACK. Black. Black women did that. And I think the problem is when we don't identify black things, then what happens is other people continue to reap the benefits and continue to push us out. I cannot tell you that no matter what we do in diversity, inclusion, initiatives, projects, and goals, hiring practices, that black people always get left out. They always get left out. When we have our plights, we very seldom do black people get the opportunity. Okay? I will tell you that in Philadelphia and other surrounding areas, there was a real uprising around diversity in journalism. That was led by predominantly Black journalism organizations and advocates, Black journalists that been doing the work long before other people of color chimed in that type of way. And the people who reap those benefits, those promotions, those hires were not Black people. And so I see too much where Black people are always being called in to clean up everybody's shit, to fix this inequity, to fix this issue. We're always being called out to the carpet to do this, to do that. We're the mules of our own undoings. We're the mules to clean up other people's ratchetry and fucked upness. And I'm so tired of that shit. So it's very disheartening that we are in these situations where we consistently see this happening. And I'm over it. Because I'm tired of consistently being in rooms where I'm told, oh, this is a POC space, but I'm the only Black person. Or I see people say, we're doing diversity inclusion meetings, but I'm not seeing Black people. Like everybody keeps talking about every other group. And I'm not saying that Asians and Latinx people do not have issues. They have their own, unique issues and cultural issues in this country. But what does it say that every time we talk about POC, and it's supposed to be including the entire spectrum, that somehow the darker we get, the less we're present in these conversations? And that colorism, that continuation of white supremacy, that anti-Blackness, like that ain't cool. And so now I am using new rhetoric. I say Black people. If other people have that experience, I can speak for myself. I'm going to speak for the community that I belong to. I'm going to speak to the experiences that I know, and I'm going to say Black people. Because at the end of the day, other groups have culturally not included us in conversations. They don't say Black people when the struggle gets real. They only say Black people when they need the presence of Black people to bolster an issue that is something that they need. But when it is issues happening in the Latinx community, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this, because I think more Black people should do this. Latinx people don't necessarily bring Black people in all the time. They don't build those coalitions. Asian people definitely don't either. I mean, there are some times when we get together as like a United Nations, as a coalition, but when you're talking about individual issues, they speak to their community's issues and only their community issues. But Black people have specifically always had to feel this obligation to include other different groups into the mix. And we do that. We always do that. But what happens is that in that coalition building, we get erased. You see Blackness get erased in even other communities, right? When you look at the Latinx community, right, there are Afro-Latinos, Afro-Latinx people that are in those communities. And those people are being erased because they have a darker complexion. So melanation, there is an assassination on melanation. There is a lot of people that are intimidated by Black people, regardless of whatever community they come from, whether it's the Latinx community. We got Black people. The diaspora is wide and huge and vast and beautiful and energetic and talented and resilient. And they can't take us in none of these communities. Anytime you see interracial of color people, right, where a Black person, like even like, for example, Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, she is Black, she's Jamaican, and she's Indian. I cannot tell you how ridiculous it was when I saw divisions on social media within the Indian community where there was a what to do about Kamala Harris. Are you serious? Like, I mean, let's be real. There is a lot of colorism in the Indian community, right? Another of color community. And the South Asian community. Let's be clear. It's not just East Asians. People only focus on East Asians when having these conversations. But there's nuance within even the Asian community where there is, South Asians who have a unique experience that is different from East Asians. But the anti-Blackness still exists. And Kamala Harris was definitely experiencing anti-Blackness on various levels. There are people questioning her Blackness because she was also she's also Indian. There's people questioning her Indian heritage because she was also Black. And so they don't appreciate the intersectional roles that carries people's experience from gender, right? Because she also was a woman, and so she was targeted in this way also because of her gender. But they don't appreciate all of these different nuances when it comes to racial identity and ethnicity and all these other politics. But what I've noticed consistently is that anti-Blackness exists in all these spaces, regardless if they're trying to advocate for a good cause. You can have people saying they want to focus on defeating white supremacy, but then you look in their makeup of the people that's in those rooms, and it is still anti-Black. And let me be clear, colorism is also anti-Blackness. So if you are hiring Black people, but the only Black people you're hiring are light-skinned Black people, or Black people who are interracial, where they are, both Black and Caucasian, you are perpetuating that. And I gotta say something right now in this journalism industry. And listen, no shots to people who are doing the work, but there's something to be said that on a national level, the conversations about racism, slavery, reparations, and other types of disparity around race are often given to journalists that are light-skinned, journalists that are of mixed ancestry. They're given to those individuals who oftentimes skew less melanated by their complexion. And that form of colorism we're seeing. Like, what does it mean that people only want to hear about reparations or slavery or other issues from people that are light-skinned? Like, it's something to be said that the industry does that. And I'm not saying that the people, those light-skinned people, they're Black. Light-skinned people are Black people. Like, I'm not questioning their Blackness. But I'm saying that white supremacy operates in a world where colorism can weaponize people. And I have friends who are light-skinned that will absolutely call that shit out and see it when it happened. And it's not even just things that happen in industry, but in their social settings. We see this anti-Blackness happen where we give them this, quote unquote, light-skinned people, this vulnerability that we don't give darker skinned people. And I've seen it. And I'm not someone, as someone who is a darker brown complexion, I'm a little bit on the darker end. I'm not light skinned. In that situation, I have seen people, fuck with me like that. When I was younger, I would see dating apps and people say, oh, I'm only into yellow bones or light skins. And they're talking about, and this is in the queer community where we saw people do that kind of stuff. And one thing is that if you're a light skinned person that run around here talking about I'm cute because I'm light skinned, you are perpetuating colorism. You're not cute because Chris Brown be like, he light skinned, he this, but Chris Brown, you also be allegedly on coke. So I don't know how attractive that is. Allegedly. So, it's like, I'm cute because I'm light skinned, but you also ugly because you on coke and you beat women. So I just don't know what the end post or the goal post is with that. But I say all to say that colorism is fucked up. Stop talking about you want your babies to look a certain way. Love your babies if they're dark, brown, whatever. People, stop saying people of color and erasing Black people from the conversation. Say Black if you mean Black. I'm going to start saying Black more often. And if I'm talking about Black people and brown people, I'll say Black and brown. But I'm not going to just be saying people of color, because I think that has become a term that has just been all-encompassing. And consistently, it has erased Black people and have not spoken about their experiences and who they are. So I am definitely going to cancel that term in 2021 and moving forward. It's going to be hard. I might slip up every blue moon and end up saying people of color, because it does roll off the tongue a little bit. People of color, but I'm going to stop saying it. Black people, Black people, Black. So I'm going to just work on that more. But yes, so I say all that to say that right now we are in an interesting moment. Like I said, I love that I came out with this podcast, because I love this, y'all. I love this. I love how this feels. I love having these mics on my ears. I love talking mics on my ears. My headphones. I love having these lovely headphones. I love being on this mic. I love being on this Heil 240 PR, talking into the screen. I just love this. This takes me back to my good old days, like 10 years ago when I was doing Ernestly speaking, and like what that felt like. I feel like this equipment is way better, yo. Right? I think so. Way better. We come a long way. I ain't got the volume system. I got this really great mic, and it's yielding great results. But in putting all this together and reflecting on all this together, I must say that 2021, in spite of what people consider a shithole, I think that this is the year I don't want to say revelation because I'm not trying to sound like a doomsday person, but I want to say that this is the year of receipts and action. It's put up or shut up, okay? We're at this point where it's put up or shut up. The House Dems are urging Pence to remove Trump. People are telling him, Pence out here showing his ass. People out here are ready to go through. You know what I'm saying? So there was a letter that came out and they said, quote, "For the sake of our democracy, we empathetically urge you to invoke the 25th Amendment and begin the process of removing President Donald Trump from power." Now, let me just say this, y'all. Listen, it is 2021, so anything can happen. But I don't think Trump gonna get removed from office. They're gonna let him ride it out till the wheels fall off. If I'm wrong, we'll be back next week on another episode of Ernestly Speaking to talk about it. But I don't think that they're gonna take him out. Again, it's about those numbers. The House has the majority, but the Senate don't. I don't know if the Senate might move. We just need, two or three traitors to move the party over. Maybe it can happen. You know what I'm saying? There are people that are circulating it, Democrats who are circulating that letter asking for it. But, honestly, I don't think Pence is going to do it. I think Pence is just really trying to, he's going to stay within the coloring box, right? Like, he's not going to give us anything grand, but he's not going to give us anything completely god-awful. So, there's some problems there. But let me say something about Cory Booker, though. When Cory Booker out here calling people good Americans and playing it, sound like, listen, Cory, see, that's that. Let me stop. But let me just say that it's very interesting, the people that get these platforms and what they say on them. But when we out here still equivocating people, making these comparisons, we're just done. We got people out here praising Lindsey Graham's speech. Are you serious? Like Lindsey Graham up here, this butch queen, sit up here and say, I hoped that, basically saying Biden lost. I prayed he would lose. He won. He's a legitimate president of the United States. Girl, if you don't go somewhere and sit down, child, if Lindsey don't sit down, and then Romney out here going off. But Romney always, now Lindsey has. And then, Lindsey Graham up here giving a snap. He out here over in the room talking about some Trump and we've had a hell of a journey. I hate to end this way. Oh my God, I'm gonna put his accent. Trump and now we've had a hell of a journey. I hate it in this way. Oh my God, I hate it. But today, all I can say is count me out. Enough is enough. I tried to be helpful. Child, they had turned on Trump. You know why they turned on Trump? Because somebody looked at this, listen, bringing it full circle. Pimp Mitch McConnell shut this shit down earlier. I'm not praising this man. I'm just saying that Mitch McConnell set the tone to say, this ain't happening. And that was before these damn thugs, came into the Bastille and sieged the Bastille. So let's be very clear. These Republicans that are flipping on Trump right now is about to continue to flip on him in the days to come. They're doing so because their pimp, Mitch McConnell done put his foot down. The senator of Kentucky done said enough. He said enough. And so that's why everybody flipping. And now world leaders are condemning the disgraceful scenes, quote unquote, at the U.S. Capitol. Like, it's the got real. We out here showing our ass. How are we going to tell other countries now what to do? Could you imagine that if we said, Germany, these protests, y'all to cut it out. They were like, motherfucker, y'all let some country, Bama, white, racist ass supremacists come up in there and show their ass with flags. Okay, and y'all supposed to be the superpower of the world, and y'all can't keep no white people away from them damn gates. Fuck out of here. But let me say this: they didn't care because that's what they wanted. They wanted that. Trump wanted it, and I bet you Trump probably said to them, "Listen, loosen up a little bit." You know what I'm saying? But Lindsey Graham trying to get off that damn Trump ship. Okay, Romney is too. Count me out. Enough is enough. I tried to be helpful. Child, if y'all don't sit down with this passive aggressive stuff, boy bye. Because that's all I got to say to them. Boy bye. Because it's like come Come on. Come on. Now motherfuckers had to break down the Capitol for y'all to show y'all ass. Boy, bye. Because you was a part of the problem. See, I'm bringing it full circle. I love this podcast. Like I said before, all of these people brought us to this point. This point did not fall from the sky. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. Okay, we did not land into this shit. This shit landed on us. This was a plan that's 12 years plus in the making. The moment that Obama said, I solemnly swear to be the next president of the United States, when he declared his presidency, the day that happened, this mayhem went into full swing. So we are going to have to hold people accountable, and we're not going to fall for the bullshit. Okay, cute for you, as we say in the community. Cute for you that you've decided that you want to, at the 11th hour, show up and show out and say something. But what I want people to understand is we got to stop playing these games and creating these quick forgiveness. We got to stop letting people into the cookout. As of right now, there's an eviction on the cookout. There's an eviction on giving out passes. There's no more passes. We're done with that. It's like Clubhouse invitations. Listen, if you ain't got one yet, sorry. Don't know what to say to you. Put my team on. But it's like that with these cookouts. Y'all better stop inviting everybody to the motherfucking cookout. Y'all better stop playing these types of games and letting everybody get a forgiveness card. And what's interesting is that everybody want to forgive these white Republicans for the fuck should they do, but we don't extend that grace to black women. I am calling for officially an exoneration of Chrisette Michele for her performance at the inauguration. It has been 4 years. She has done her part. She has repented. She has apologized. Leave her the fuck alone. Meanwhile, y'all can keep that man who is from Chicago, whose last name rhymes with vest or zest. How you doing? Y'all can leave him where he's at. And that's that on that. But all I say this to say is that we have come into a point in our community where I want us to utilize this new year, take in this energy, take this fever. It's time to call people out in ways that are meant to lead to progress, right? It's a lot of people out here getting canceled out here for various reasons. And I just want to say that, as somebody who has definitely been in positions where I've called it to the carpet, I am interested, in holding black people accountable, but I'm specifically interested in making sure that we are consistently looking at the ways in which, oh my goodness, I become the ways in which girl, but looking at how white supremacy is consistently pushing these things. And it's very concerning. And there's a lot of things that's being said. And I want people to understand that we're at a time where people are being threatened, and those threats are leading to people being put in dangerous situations. So we have to have ethics. We have to have morals. We have to be in a position where we speak truth to power. We have to call a thing. And we can't just sit up here and allow this to happen. Do you know that right now they're saying that Donald Trump, oh my goodness, like Donald Trump is really cutting up. Donald Trump on his Twitter account is basically identifying himself because he has now lost his damn mind, but he's been lost his damn mind. Donald Trump is acknowledging himself on Twitter as the 45th president of the United States. Child, if that is not fake news, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. They're taking his tweets down, okay? This man has no fucking chill. Like, listen, I don't want to hear a white person tell me anything about being insubordinate. I don't want to hear a white person tell me anything about any of that. I am gagging. This man is showing his ass has lost all of it. Donald Trump has lost all of it. He has lost all of it. He has completely lost it, y'all. I am gagging. He's lost all his marbles. He just said, I'm going to say, what's that song? I love it by Billie Eilish. First of all, I love Billie Eilish's music. I am, you think that I am, everything I am, just because I am. Now stop. What the hell are you talking about? Get your corny name out of my mouth. We are not the same with or without. Anyway, I love that song. Anyway, I'm not your friend or anything then. You think that I'm the man. I say cause for I am. I'm not your friend. Anyway, I love that song. I'm sorry. I'm a Billie Eilish stan. I have my moments. I enjoy Billie Eilish a lot. Like I just can't. I can't, y'all. I just well, until next week, you have listened to Ernestly Speaking. This was a season premiere. This is exciting. This season's about to be lit. And as you can see, it may have not came when you wanted it to come, but it came right on time. And I just want to say, I appreciate you all. That's it. That's the podcast. Earnestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Earnestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.